The IEC says it will approach the Constitutional or Electoral Court to seek advice on the recommendation of Justice Moseneke postponing the elections. Our reporter Mbali Thethani is following that story and she joins us live. A very good afternoon to you, Mbali. So this is really the briefing that South Africans have been waiting for to find out the fate of the local government elections. But it is quite clear that there are still a few more steps ahead before any sort of finality is concerned.
You're absolutely right, Tammy. This is a briefing that a number of South Africans have been waiting for, of course, to hear if whether those elections come the 27th of October, they will indeed be going ahead. Of course, this stems from that report from Justice Moseneke, who basically said that, well, according to the research that he and his team has done, should the elections go ahead this year, they will not be free and fair, and basically citing the issues around, when you look at COVID-19 issues, Tommy, which is quite crucial, and that is something that he heavily relied on when he conducted that report. But we know that those recommendations really are not binding, but this is where we find ourselves here today with the IEC, and they have been advised by Justice Moseneke to, of course, approach a competent court if they would want to, of course, postpone those elections. But we still find ourselves in a position where it's still not clear as to which direction or what direction the IEC will be taking and which court exactly they will be going to. Joining us now to give us a bit of clarification when it comes to those issues is, of course, the CEO of course, the IEC, Mr. Simon Mabolo. Mr. Mabolo, thank you so much for joining us here on Newzroom Afrika. When it comes to the issues around which court exactly you will be approaching, we've heard from your chairperson saying that it will either be the Electoral Court or the Constitutional Court. Why specifically those two courts?
Well, the reason we are not definitive and categorical on the issue is because we are still considering the relative strengths of each option. There's a view that says the Concord will have exclusive jurisdiction on the matter, and there's a view that says the Electoral Court, whilst not having exclusive jurisdiction, might have jurisdiction on the matter as well. So there's also a need to have certainty as soon as possible. We met with parties earlier today, and the central message from them is they need certainty in the planning so that they can be in a position to comply with whatever timelines we come up with. So the matter is still under consideration. We are taking advice on the matter, and as soon as those considerations are finalized, we will announce which court will be competent.
And what will inform those considerations?
Certainty, the creation of certainty, as well as whether that court has jurisdiction.
Now, I know that one of the issues that were brought up in the Moseneke report is that political parties won't have enough time to campaign, and that is a very crucial part when you come and you look at elections. And some would say that elections is not about what happens on the day, but it's about the build-up. How possible is it that, the IEC can even consider having these elections in February as proposed by Justice Moseneke?
We're working out a timeline that will accord with the propositions raised in the Moseneke report. Again, we're going to be consulting with political parties on that timeline, and once agreed, it will form part of the elements we're dealing with in the application that we raise with a court of competent jurisdiction.
How difficult is it for the IEC to maneuver around this? You've never had a situation of this manner where you need to be looking at, postponing these elections. How difficult has this process been in terms of you even looking at the report, and when likely can South Africans go to the polls?
Is the most difficult situation we have had to deal with since the advent of democracy in the country. It presents intractable challenges, but that's precisely why we are here. We are here as part of the state machine that must find answers to these most vexed questions. So we are struggling at the best of times, but I think we are equal to the task at the same time.
At the same time, I heard the chairperson saying that, well, while this process gets underway of you approaching, either court, either the Electoral Court, Constitutional Court, the calendar of the IEC will still go ahead. Does he mean, the possibility of even having those elections this year are still quite high?
No, indeed. Until the court determines the application finally, we cannot rest on our laurels. So the timelines, as we previously had them and announced them, they remain in place until the court makes a decision. We cannot preempt the court, for we don't know what direction the court will go. So in the meantime, as everything must proceed as per normal.
Thank you very much. Of course, so that is Simon Mabolo. He is the CEO, Thami, of the IEC. Also talking about that calendar. We know that that calendar includes having those elections on the 27th of October, and until the relevant courts hear the matter, he says that, well, the IEC will continue with the calendar which they have planned out for the year.
Well, Mbali Thethani, thank you for that update.